The information I looked up online said it, plus I found their names in census records, and a couple of the families, they were mixed. Some were listed as black and some were listed as mulatto. So I'm doing more digging. I'm trying to find out. There's like maybe a dozen graves back in there that are identified, and maybe about 3/4 of them actually are identified. And if it's a church cemetery, I'm betting there's more people buried there that are probably just unmarked graves at this point.
Well, at first you were thinking that might have been a cemetery for prisoners of war or something, because didn't you say there was a German prisoner of war camp in that area?
Yeah, Tom Godwin was saying right across from there, that big farm field, it was a prisoner of war camp. And I looked up online, and indeed it was. And when you turn down Seaside heading south, you see that first house on the right. It has like a observation deck on it. Yeah. And I've been meaning to ask Tom if that was maybe part of the prison camp, and that observation deck was like a guard post up there. Mm-hmm. You know, so it's just World War II. So, I mean, it wasn't that long ago that house could have been part of the prisoner of war camp. But right now, it sure doesn't look like that cemetery had anything to do with World War II, because all the dates I'm picking up for the tombstones were in the 1800s. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
some as early as the 1815 era.
Okay, guys. I know we can probably go on and on, but we've got to do our board meeting.
Yeah,
Randy can't come, I know. But what about Bert?
Bert has said he's not going to be here. He had some last minute. It's his old last minute. Something came up.
Yeah.
So Reggie, Regina, I haven't heard from. I heard from Stanley. Stanley's son is having electrical problems at his house, so there goes Stanley. But I think we have a quorum, and I'm recording the meeting. Sorry, Reggie, not Reggie, but Randy. We've got a lot of non-business in the front of this. But I'm sure you've skipped past it by now. As Paul inferred, Reggie will not be at the meeting today or our regular meeting. He lost his mother a few days ago. She was 92. And according to Reggie, she was really pretty healthy right up until the end. But, he missed last week's meeting, and he told me he was having, his mom was having issues. So we'll announce that at today's meeting. And he promised to get back to me with funeral arrangements once he had them, and we'll get that out to the entire membership. So the minutes, what we'll do is, we won't ask for approval of these minutes for last month's meeting. What we'll do is ask Reggie to have 2 months worth of minutes, and not Reggie, but Randy to do 2 months worth of minutes, and then we'll handle that in November. Now, because we always do crab cakes in November. And I think we have to come to a decision on whether or not we do crab cakes. Yep, I've got 2 no's. Chuck, is your neck hurting?
No. Why?
Both Bill and Paul were shaking their head no on the crab cakes.
Oh, okay. I'll tell you what, just pure selfishness. I love having crab cakes, and I'm missing them, to be honest with you.
What we'll have to do is we'll have to bring a container of crab meat by your house, Chuck.
Yeah. But
and
no,
you and I will have a party.
I understand the concern.
I love them too. Yeah, my concern is, I think our clients will be a little reluctant to buy them. And the other thing is, it would be irresponsible to huddle 20, 25 of us in a room So no crab cakes. So that's not a, I don't think we have, we don't have to make a motion on that, do we, guys?
No.
No, I don't think so. Okay, the next item of business, we do have to, I think board should approve. I'm going to the district conference in November over in Virginia Beach, and they sent me an email. I guess they sent it to all Rotarians who were attending to support a project they have underway to fill the shelves of the Southeast Virginia Food Bank. And they're asking every club to contribute in some way, either monetarily or you know, bring a load of flour, whatever we can, to the conference. So I would like to see us represented. So let's have a little discussion.
Well, I'll be honest with you, Bill. I got last week in the mail a solicitation from the food bank to donate. And these days I've had a couple of bank and credit card incidences. And on that form, I can donate either by sending a check or writing in my entire credit card information. These days I'm getting real leery about doing any of that anymore. So I'm all for donating directly to somebody I trust within the Rotary Foundation to support this rather than answering up on this piece of mail I got.
Oh yeah, if we were to support this district project, I would imagine what Paul would do is send a check directly to district.
Yeah,
that's the only way I ever do. Well, pay from the bank sometimes, but
Bill Stram,
yeah, I'm wholeheartedly for this. However, I'd like to be able to, since we have the Eastern Shore branch of that, it would be great to earmark our funds for the Eastern Shore branch.
agree.
Okay, I'll look into that. This document doesn't talk about the Eastern Shore branch specifically.
Well, I mean, we should, yeah, I mean, it is part of the overall southeastern area, but
Yeah.
you know, give it just to them and find out that, oh, well, we're divvying on the need, you know, well, there's a need over here too. So I don't see
Okay,
why.
I will, if we do something, I will somehow
Bring
see
it
that
up.
it's earmarked for the Eastern Shore branch. Any other discussion?
how much?
Oh, so you want to support, now it's a matter of how much.
Right.
Could this be our annual contribution? It may be before that we've done this in the past, right, Paul?
I don't know.
Well, we gave a ton of money to the Eastern Shore Food Bank this past year. I mean, that was one of our major contribution
Donations.
efforts.
Yeah, and then that was directly to the, I think, the Eastern Shore branch.
Yeah, it was.
So how generous do you guys feel?
Well, we might want to make more. We might want to make our own contribution later to the Eastern Shore branch. Or I don't know how much would you feel like you needed to take, not to be embarrassed?
Well, they say they're going to have a like a board where each of the clubs will be recognized for either a monetary amount or some kind of food. I think I'd be embarrassed if it was less than $100. I'd probably stay away from the board. So
100 be enough?
It's up to you guys.
I think we should do a little more than that. I don't know, like 500 might be a lot based on the fact we've already given and we'll give some more. I mean, it would be nice, but I would think we ought to do at least 300, I would think, but you know, that's just,
I
you know,
think
more about the money
250s.
available than I do.
I think 250 is plenty. Because we want to make another contribution later to the Eastern Shore branch, probably.
Yeah, I think 250 is fine.
What do you think, Chuck?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. But if we are able to earmark our donation.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna call the writer of this email, our district public image chair, Diane. What's Diane's last name? Gordon. Diane Gordon. And see, and put when they put it up there, you know, earmark it for the Eastern Shore. They know all about us. They know Cape Charles. So I don't think that will be a problem. So can I have a motion?
Yeah,
$250, so moved.
Who made the motion?
Me.
Paul made the motion for 250.
Yep.
Okay.
I second.
Second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So,
Aye.
and we're recording this, so Randy will be able to figure it out. So, next item, Paul, are you ready to talk about the budget and the financial report? Either order, you know, you can do either one.
Yeah, well, probably I'll do the financial report first.
Okay, you can share the screen. I think I've allowed you to share.
Not sure I can tell what's what here. It just says Rotary. Let me see what that is. That wasn't it. So
Got highlighted financial information. I think it might be in there.
yeah, no. Now,
Yeah, it's from July.
can y'all see that?
Yeah,
Okay.
we see your
Directory.
directory. Thank
Oh, you can't see the financial report now.
no.
Well, it's showing on my screen. Your screen sharing is paused.
Start over again.
Oh, geez.
Now we see. I see you.
Rotary Treasury report. You see that now?
Okay, now yeah. Okay, there you go. Yeah, that's it.
All right. So September was fairly simple, short. So we, that was the cost of the raffle ticket. Well, it was a drum to mix the raffle tickets that
Yeah.
Betty bought. We reimbursed her that much. Eva Noonan paid too much, but we just credit her with future future dues. So we contributed to the Exmoor Rotary Club for our joint district project. That check hadn't been cashed yet as when the statement for the end of September was issued. Here's some signs for the raffle drawing. And then this was the proceeds. This was how much we brought in from the raffle. And this is what we paid out. Now, that one we paid to Polio Plus in Chuck Arneson's name. So Chuck will get the credit for it, as will his club. Our club won't even get the credit for that in the end, but we know we gave it. And that $500 went to the Nancy Dolinsky. This was for the annual governor's dinner, and we actually made that donation in our club's name, so we will get the credit for that. Then we had dues get. This was from Randy billed the people that hadn't paid their dues yet for the first quarter a second time, and we got 5 people to pay up before the end of September, both dues and Rotary Foundation, and somebody paid on the social event for July. So we ended, and actually those checks that were outstanding after the, at the end of August, to the coffee shop, et cetera, all were cashed before end of September. So we ended up with almost $6,000 in the operating fund and over $12,000 in the contribution fund for a total balance of $18,280. There's something I added now. I've started adding this to our weekly, my weekly report that I keep track of, and it gets posted in Dropbox, keeping track of our membership a little more precisely. So this shows that at the end of September, we had 37 members, the same as we started with. Richard Leal died, and then the very next day, Jim Rich joined. So no net change. That's probably as high as membership was about we've ever had, as I recall.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure I understand where it says total funds on line 21. I'm sorry, line 20, 18,280 and some change. Right. And then below that, it says plus $20, but it's less money on line 49.
Yeah, that's because these deposits here, they're highlighted in purple. They didn't show up on the statement. So this is according to this is the bank balance. This was how much was showing in the bank on our statement at the end of September. Then you add to that these deposits and take away the outstanding checks to get our bank balance.
Okay.
So there are actually 3 deposits, if you will, here, and 1 debit that hadn't cleared yet at the end of September.
Okay.
So you can see the formula for this is I take the this balance, the checkbook balance, and I subtract from it the things that hadn't cleared yet. And some of those are subtracting negative numbers, et cetera.
I see.
And then that check, that balance, that reconciled with the bank balance.
Okay.
Any other comment on the September financial report? I'd like a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and second that the that the financial statement for September be accepted. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. So who, Bill, you made the motion, right? Bill Murphy? Okay. So now the budget for this fiscal year, Paul, if you will.
How do I get back to that now?
Chuck will help you. Don't worry. Chuck's here.
Let me break into your laptop.
Share again. There we go. Rotary budget.
We don't see it yet. Now it's probably coming. Yeah, there it is.
All right. And let's see. How do I get rid of, you tell me how to, in the little meeting.
Click on that little, see that, go one more. Okay, click on that. Click on that.
Auto hide
and
ribbon.
hide the ribbon. There you
Got
go.
it. All right. So, here's, how can I get rid of the pictures? There. At least I got rid of it for me. The All right, so the way I do the budget every year is I take the actuals over the last 5 years, and these are the actuals for this most recent fiscal year here, and look at the budget for last year, and then proposed budget numbers for the new year. So the funds we actually started with at the start of the year this year were $15,104. I pull this over a little. So the first thing to do is to figure out, all right, well, how much we're going to collect in dues. And then you have to make assumptions. Like right now, everybody's just paying $70 a quarter. And by the way, I already met with Bill Payne and Randy about this. And they had suggestions, and this was all changed during that meeting. So this is the changed one resulting from that meeting that I'm proposing to the board. So this budget assumes that we start having meals at the coffee house in January. And we just assumed, again, you got to pick some numbers. So assume 22 members opted in and 14 opted out, which means that so for 2 months, 22 members would pay $175 each. So you'd have that much coming in from them. They also would have paid $70 each for the first 2 quarters. And then 14 members would have paid $70 a quarter for all the quarters. And then this is one more, which is the member that's not absent. What is it called?
Leave of absence.
Inactive or whatever.
Leave of absence.
Leave of absence, which is $50 a quarter. So that results in this number here. And the 400, let me see. For just initiation fees, etc. You just got to pick a number. Opt-out lunch is obviously not going to be many of that, although last year there were $534 in those 2 categories. And operating income from 50/50. Obviously, that's not going to be much because we're not going to have 50/50 till we start meeting in person again. Although last year, like I said, we had 368. This is an assumption that we make for fines and happy dollars. Last year, we actually collected $538 from those 2 things. And we've got quite a bit of money coming in, although actually after doing this budget, my recommendation to Bill and Randy is that we start putting all the money from happy dollars into the contribution fund. We didn't do that for a number of years because our operating fund wasn't in very good shape. So we wanted to supplement it a little bit with this, but now our operating fund is in very good shape. And our contribution fund's one's going to be hurting this year. So I think we'd start putting all our happy dollars into the contribution fund. We can make a motion for that later. But this assumes that $500 right now goes into here. And so and then the charitable income, we assumed that of our 37 members that we assumed we're going to have for most of the year, 4 members donate outside the club to the Rotary Foundation. So that money doesn't go through the club. So it's not counted in our budget, leaving 33 members and assume $100 each. This was money for contributed. No, that's what we actually, I'm assuming. Yeah, that comes in from charitable contributions specifically for Polio Plus, like Purple Pinky and other designated gifts. Sometimes happy dollars get donated specifically to Polio Plus. And I don't want to do that. So, and then having trouble with this stuff down at the bottom. Geez. So other donations, like all the 50-50 money that gets donated specifically to charity, sometimes goes into here. No grants. Crab cakes, we're assuming nothing. The cash raffle profit, that's an actual calculation. It's accurate. And here's the calculation right here. This is how much we made from the cash raffle this year. And then this is a big assumption, and that is that we have another fundraiser, which makes $5,000 for the club. Big assumption.
We're big guys.
So that gives you the total income for charitable, and then we go to the expenses. I don't need to go through all this in great detail, but you can scan down this thing. This was distributed to y'all beforehand anyway. This is a pretty accurate calculation of dues that we would pay based on 37 members. I calculated from our most recent invoices how much we end up paying for district dues and international dues, and used 37 members, and those are the totals. This is the total of those. Club meetings, again, we assumed we start meeting in January at the coffee house again, and this is the calculation, and there are also gifts of $500 in August and $375 in July, because we had that meetings in July that we paid them for, so we gave them a little less that month. So that all those added together is this number, and this is the evening meetings. I'm assuming 6 of those a year, one a month, starting in January, at $24, $15 a person, 24 people, I'm assuming would come. The socials, I'm setting $500 aside for a social. Joint meeting of the district governor didn't cost us anything this year. This is just something in case. $500 to send the president-elect to pets. It might be a lot less than that this year. It might be virtual, who knows? We set aside money for people to go to RLI, and a few people went. I don't know how many, but we'll reimburse for that. And we encourage people to go to district meetings, and we reimburse them. We actually spent $350 last year on that. I'm budgeting $400 here.
Hey, Paul, question, Paul. Didn't we buy a gift or kick in a gift for the district governor?
That was the $50 that went to Polio Plus.
Oh, okay.
So that'll be part of our Polio Plus contribution, actually. So the bottom line for operating expenses is that we take that income that I calculated above minus these expenses, and we still have a net gain of $695, which is why I think we can afford to put the $500 from that I'm assuming comes from Happy Dollars.
Does anybody have a problem with that? Okay, you're good, Paul.
So charitable, the $3,300 that comes in as gifts to our club for the Rotary Foundation just goes directly. It's just a pass through to Rotary Foundation. I'm assuming here that the club will donate $2,400 to Polio Plus, which we donated last year, 2627. This would include, from the Purple Pinky Day and all that. I'm assuming $500 goes to New Roots. That's what we have normally given a year. We didn't last year because it was a special year, and we might not this year, but that's what we budgeted. $250 budgeted to Eastern Shore Coalition Against Domestic Violence, $240 for the dictionaries, $1,000 for RILA, which is about typical. $500 we already gave to the district project for the year. International project, we gave $1,000 to, that was the children's Save the Children Fund last year. And we budgeted $1,000 for an international project this year. Budgeted $1,000 for donations relative to Kiptopik School. And $500 to Shore Soccer, which again, we skipped last year. But we gave them a commitment a couple of years ago that we would give them $500 a year, and I think they'll be back in operation. So that means even with the $5,000, assuming that we have coming in from another fundraiser, that we're negative 1585. Last year we were negative 3878. But that's okay because we have a pretty good pad. This is the pad we start the year with this year in the contribution fund. And even with that negative 1585, we still would have $6,100 in the contribution fund. Now, if you took away our $5,000 fundraiser, that would be down to a little over $1,000, which I don't think we want to do. We kind of made a commitment a few years ago, as I recall, that we wouldn't let these funds get below $2,500 each. So that's well, the budget, except for these, there was an other category here, other charitable expenses. See the list below. And here's the list. $1,000 to Eastern Shore Boys and Girls Club. I put in the $125 we've typically given to Art Center. This is, we gave $300, not last year, I don't think. Maybe we did. I don't remember for sure. To Festive Fridays. I think we did last year. $500 to the fire department, $200 to February Freeze, $800 to Boys State, $200 to the Historical Society, $130 to Chamber of Commerce, $500 to the Food Bank, which we've just decided we would give $250 of that, and then $500 to Smart Beginnings at Eastern Shore. So that's the budget. That's the proposed budget. What questions y'all have?
Just a curiosity question. I know for tax purposes, after the first of the year, I get a statement from Rotary, and
Right.
I think it has to do with contributions that go to charities that they say that we each individually made. But obviously, from your spreadsheet, we make a lot of donations, and
Right.
I'm wondering, do we get a statement on which
No.
ones are charitable and tax
No.
exempt, which ones aren't? Or
No.
is that up to us to try and figure out?
Well, you don't need to figure it out. There's no way to donate. There's no way to write off money that our club gave. Now, when you make a contribution on your dues payment,
Right.
and you end up giving $100 a year, say, to the Rotary Foundation, that's a tax deductible contribution,
Right.
because the Rotary Foundation is a 501c3 organization, and they send you that statement. So you could use that to write off that $100 or
Yeah,
$500 or $1,000, whatever it is. But money given directly to the club, and unless I, which I do this sometimes for larger contributions, like if you say during a club meeting, say, I want to give $100 to Polio Plus, well, I'm going to send that directly to Polio Plus in your name, and you will get a statement. You will get a statement for that from Rotary International
okay,
that you can use to write it off. But I'm not going to do that for $5 and $10
yeah,
contribution.
yeah, okay.
Paul, let me just interrupt and acknowledge Bill Billings, who will be our speaker today at the regular meeting. Hi,
Yeah.
Bill. We're finishing up our board meeting today, and it's an open meeting, and you're certainly welcome. And we'll continue. Any other comments on the budget? Bill?
Yeah, just one. First of all, I want to thank Paul again, as usual, for doing such a great job on the budget and, accounting for almost any possibility. But I think the thing we all need to remember, and we probably need to make sure that members understand this, pretty much to make our budget work this year and to reach the goals that we want to and end up where we want to at the end of the fiscal year, we're going to have to come up with at least another $5,000 fundraiser, whether that's a raffle, hopefully making crab cakes in the spring or summer, or the golf cart raffle or whatever. But it's pretty important that we start thinking in terms of doing another fundraiser worth 5,000.
Right.
Absolutely. And I'd like to just add to Bill's congratulations, Paul. I appreciate you're working so hard on it. You guys have it easy. I had to go through this with Paul for hours, but it was worth it. And Paul really does work hard on this. And on behalf of the membership, Paul, thanks again. So I'd like a motion on accepting Paul's work.
So moved.
Okay, Bill Murphy has moved that we accept. I'd like a second.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and second that we accept the 2021 fiscal budget. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we have just concluded our agenda as I outlined it. I didn't share it with you, but that was my outline. But I'd like to take a few minutes and just have some open discussion, and everybody that's here should chime in because it impacts all of us. I'm concerned that we're beginning to I haven't got all the results back from our survey, which gives me an opportunity to pick up the phone and ask people who didn't respond, what do you think? But I think we're beginning to suffer from a little Zoom fatigue.
Yeah.
So I've thrown it out there. What do you think?
What are your responses so far? Just, I mean, how many say yes?
So far, and I did hear from some folks who haven't shown up yet. We've got more yeses than nos, but we've got a lot of nos. What concerns me is half of our membership hasn't even taken the time to respond, even if they read the email, which gives me some concern, and maybe I'm a worrywart, but I really want to keep the vitality of the club, as you all do. And
well, I will say that I don't think that lack of response has anything to do with Zoom. I think that's a pretty typical response, right, Bill Murphy?
Yes, I was just gonna
Bill Murphy sent out a lot of these surveys before, and I bet you never get more than 50% people responding.
Never, no matter what it was. If you got 50%, you had done well. And then, of course, the other 50% that doesn't respond reserves the right to complain about the outcome,
Right.
which you will hear about. But yeah, 50% response on a survey, at least in our club, was always pretty good. So like Paul said, I wouldn't take that as a.
So I should be happy.
Well, yes and no. I mean,
You got 50%, you should be very
the
happy.
idea of us getting back together in the relatively small space at a coffee house, I think that's probably going to be around 50-50, yes and no, maybe even
Yeah.
more yes. But, I know the cold weather's coming on, but the one meeting we had there in the park, that went pretty well. And I felt comfortable at that, and we were able to social distance. Now, we could do that again. And of course, that meeting was really nice because, Chuck brought his instruments and set up his PA, and we had really more of a social than a regular meeting. But it would seem to me, before it gets cold, as an alternative or maybe an addition to the coffee house, we could do another 1, 2, or 3 meetings in the park. And I would feel comfortable going to those.
Yeah, me too.
I think we have to do something to demonstrate a little excitement. And while it's a lot of work, I think it's probably worth it.
Bill,
Yes.
I don't think it's a Zoom thing that people are tired of. I think people in general are just tired of what's going on with the
Okay.
election, with the whole COVID thing. People are just kind of worn out by the whole thing and are ready to move on. So if there are some venues we can meet and sidestep all those issues, not even talk about them, talk about each other's families and things like that. I think people are hurting and wanting to do that. They want to talk about other things. I know for one, I want to see people face to face. I'm just tired of sitting in the house and not having that person to person contact. So I think I speak for most people. We're just tired of that, not Zoom meetings or anything.
Jim,
I think that's absolutely true.
Jim, what do you think?
I don't know. I'm really torn on this because I know some people who aren't doing well, and I don't want to go near them. I have no problem sitting around with all you guys, but I don't want to be the one who makes someone sick. I mean, I'm perfectly willing to go sit in the coffee house. I'll go sit in Chuck's living room and have a beer with him. I got no problem with that. But the people who are really compromised, I worry about getting near them.
Mm-hmm. Bill Stram.
Listen, I'm all for it. I went out west for 26 days, and yeah, I wore a mask, but you got to live your life, okay? I mean, come on. So you've got to live your life, and if it happens, it happens. But hey, that's my.
That's good. That's good. Hey, Paul, chime in here.
Well, as you know, I put in my response that I'd love to have in-person meetings again, but assuming the incidence doesn't start increasing. And I'm really concerned that the incidence is going to start increasing with everybody moving more indoors and congregating more, and everybody getting tired of it and tired of all of the precautions. As several of you know, I plot the incidence of this every week in Cape Charles and Northampton County and Accomack County, and Virginia Beach, and Virginia as a whole. And all of those places went up a little bit this past week. And, Virginia is not far from an all-time high in incidence again, as is the country. So I'm worried that as the fall goes on and the weather gets colder, that this is going to get worse, and that any tentative plan we might make might get canceled anyway.
Yeah. I do believe that doing something different is good. What I'm going to ask the board to do, and I'll divide it up amongst us. I want to contact by telephone everybody that hasn't been to a Zoom meeting ever or in the last month, and just reach out to them and remind them that, you know, Rotary's still here. We still love you. We know you're busy, ba 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 ba, but keep the energy going. Hi, Al.
Hello there.
We're still wrapping up the board meeting, but as a future board member, you ought to have something to say.
Wait, what?
And what we're talking about is you know, the meetings have had sparse attendance. Maybe we've had 18 people, which is pretty good. But, you know, Bill Stram has made an overachiever out of me. And I can't help it, Bill. I'm blaming you, Bill. So we really want to strive to do better. And we're just talking about what we might do to put a little energy back in the club. Fire up some people who have never been at a Zoom meeting or don't come very often. How are you doing these days?
Me, Al, I'm doing fine. I'm busy with work. I haven't been in the last couple of weeks to the meetings. My work is busy, which is a good thing. But all in all, I'm doing okay.
Okay. Well, what I'd like to do, I'd like to give us a 5-minute break between the board meeting and the regular meeting. I'm going to float the idea of another park meeting before it snows. And if we get a okay kind of reaction, I think we ought to get the election out of the way. Do a Central Park meeting as soon as possible after the election. And we're going to ask Chuck and Reggie and a few others to, you know, help with that so that we have a fun meeting, do something different, kind of fun. I think the idea of just everybody sharing what's been going on in their life face to face is a good idea. I think Chuck said that that would be kind of interesting. So I'm going to call the board meeting to a close unless there's something that somebody has to say.
I have one thing, and that is if there is another Central Park meeting, please do not have it on the second Tuesday evening, okay?
Yeah, that's your American Legion meeting night, right? Okay. We will absolutely not have it on a second Tuesday.
Well,
So stretch your legs at 12 o'clock. We'll start our fellowship for the regular meeting. People are beginning to come on board, even Tom Godwin. So maybe we're gonna have a pretty good session. Welcome,
Yeah.
Bill.
Coffee
Bill
machine.
Billings, welcome.
Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we hear you 5 by 5, and we're really happy that you're here, Bill.
Coffee machine's calling.
Great. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, we're gonna start up in about 5 minutes.
You got a minute to see if we can do the share screen for the PowerPoint?
Yeah, absolutely. This would be a good time to try it out. You've been enabled. I think we see a chair. Oh no, that's Chuck. I'm going to stop this recording.